Welcome to Here to Serve, a United Regional podcast. I'm your host, Ryan Graves. My favorite part of being the Director of Patient Experience at United Regional is the incredible people that I meet and work with on a daily basis, and I want you to meet them too. Join us to meet the people behind the badge and to highlight those who are here to serve. Kristi, we're doing it.
We're doing it.
United Regional podcast, number 1.
That's right.
It's happening. I feel a little glamorous right now. I'm going to be honest. Have you ever been on a podcast?
Never.
No?
Never been on a podcast.
Do you listen to podcasts?
I do listen to podcasts. I love podcasts.
What do you like?
Oh gosh, I like Jen Hatmaker. I listen to a lot of her stuff. I like Annie Downs.
So no Joe Rogan?
I listen to a little bit. Occasionally I'll listen to Joe Rogan if there's a guest that I like. But yeah, anything Brene Brown.
I love Brene Brown.
I like to listen to podcasts when I'm just walking or driving in my car or whatever. So.
I got to be honest, I feel a little bit like Joe Rogan right now, being on the first. I mean, I've been on a podcast once before. It was my friend's podcast. So it was pretty cool. Yeah. But I've never hosted one. So hosting one's got me feeling very Joe Rogan-like.
You kind of look like Joe Rogan, right? Really?
Minus the bald hair and minus the cannabis and the aliens.
That's right. And there will be no F-bombs today.
I'll do my best to avoid them. I'll do my best. Well, this is something I have wanted to do for a long time. I'm very excited about United Regional having a podcast. It's something that I've kind of had a vision for, and you've had a vision for, and so it's really exciting that it's actually happening. And I think it's pretty fitting that you're the first person that we're bringing on the podcast. This is what makes me excited about a United Regional podcast. What makes me excited about it, and the reason I've always wanted to do it, is we work with so many incredible people day in and day out that do incredible things that other people don't know about, And so unless you work closely with somebody, you don't get to know all the great things that they do and just who they are.
Right.
And so that's why I would like to see that out of this podcast. Why I was excited to get to talk to you is because I've worked with you for a decade now, and I've gotten to know you, not just in the role that you're in, but just as a human being. And so by the way, for anybody out there listening, Kristi is my boss, okay? And so I'm not above sucking up. I want to point that out. I'm not above it. But this is not sucking up. This is true. In that I've worked with Kristi for almost a decade now, and she's one of those people. And I was trying to think on the way here. I was thinking, how would I describe Kristi to somebody who doesn't know her?
That's scary.
And here's the word that came to my mind. And just go with this for a second. The word was infectious.
Oh.
Yeah. That's it right there.
Okay.
The smile, the laugh, you just bring a joy to everything that you do. And it is infectious. And so I've gotten to see that over the years. I've worked with you long enough to see behind the scenes who you are as a human. And that's why there's this old adage that people don't leave jobs, they leave bosses. And so I've stuck with you for a long time, and I've made you promise that you're not going to go anywhere. And so I want to know a little bit about what's behind that kind of infectious joy and passion that you bring to everything. What's that rooted in? Where's that come from?
Well, first of all, I'd like to just clarify that nobody is the boss of Ryan. Like, we all know that Ryan is his own boss, so we'll start with that. Honestly, I mean, I think in life in general, I'm all about live your best life, and you've only got one shot at it. So, do it right and do it big and have fun and all of those things. But at United Regional, for me, it's just a passion for who we are and what we do. I've been at United Regional for a little over 20 years now, and I think just the culture of our organization is what gets me excited. When I came 20 years ago, the culture really wasn't what it is now. But I saw we had leadership in place that valued culture and that wanted to bring about improvements, and I wanted to be a part of that. So I think it's just, it's knowing that the work that we do at United Regional is making a big difference, and that the organization cares about the employees and the people that are a part of the team, and that's what kind of keeps me going.
Yeah, I can just confirm that. I see that from you, and I've seen that from you a lot over the years. And I've watched I've brought many problems to you, and over the years, and what I always see from you is your heart is, I want to do what's the right thing. What's the right thing? If I bring you a concern about a patient, it's what's the right thing for the patient, or what's the right thing for the team member, what's the right thing for the organization. And I know we don't always get it perfect, but what keeps me at United Regional is what you said. It's that desire to want to do the right thing. I'm not quite at 20 years yet, but I'm pretty close.
Yeah.
Getting pretty close to 20 years and 10 years with you. And it's that desire to want to do the right thing. And then just to always just be moving forward to the next thing. How do we make it, it's already good. How do we make it better? Something that is a good example of I think this drive that you have, that you pitched recently. And I'll be honest, I didn't catch the vision when you pitched it, but you pitched the brand ambassadors project that you were working on. And I remember hearing about it. And I think even afterwards, you said something along the lines of, I thought everybody's going to be super jazzed about this idea. And you pitched it and everybody was kind of like, okay. And to be honest, I was in that group as I was like, hey, if Kristi wants to do it, I'm sure it'll be great. But I just didn't really catch the vision of it. And then, I don't know, it's probably a month or two later, I was walking by the boardroom. I don't even remember what I was doing, but I was passing by and I heard laughter and like screaming in a positive way. And people like joy coming out of that room. And I remember stopping and goes, I don't think the board's in there right now. It's not usually the sounds I hear from,
Right.
from the C-suite. And so I asked somebody nearby, I said, what's going on in there? And they said, oh, that's the brand ambassadors meeting. And it's always like that. So it wasn't long after that, I got to actually come to one of the meetings, and I was blown away by the energy and the things that they were getting done. So tell me, where did that come from? How did that happen?
So don't get me started on the brand ambassadors. This could take a while, but I love that group so much. And it was one of those things that we were like, let's give it a try. I don't know if it'll work or not. It might be a disaster, but it's kind of like this podcast. I mean, let's give it a try and see what happens. So what was behind the brand ambassadors is we felt a real need to get out there and tell our story better in the community. And we were hearing that from employees. People were saying, we need to talk about all the great things that we're doing. Like, United Regional employees are so proud of what goes on, not just within our walls, but outside of the walls. But we've always kind of steered away from talking about it a lot because we didn't want it to look like we were patting ourselves on the back. And then we finally realized that it was like, if we're not going to tell our story, who is?
Right.
And so one of the things that came out of that was pulling together this group of brand ambassadors. It's about 20 employees, all different levels, all different departments of the organization. They are extroverts, so when they get together, they have fun. But they are out there helping us tell our story. They are doing presentations at community events. They're wearing the United Regional swag. They post a lot on social media. But the nice thing about it for me is that not only are they out there pushing information, but they're bringing it back to us. So if there's a rumor that's out in the community, they're bringing it to us and saying, here's what we heard. And we're having some very open, transparent conversations about, okay, well, here's the truth behind that. Now you help us go get the message out there. And so, I think initially we thought this was going to be a way to help carry our message out, but it actually has worked both ways, that they're bringing a lot of good information to us that helps us with our decision making.
It was my first time coming into that meeting. I do quite a bit of, for my job and personal life, I do quite a bit of public speaking. And so when you're doing public speaking, within the first few seconds what kind of crowd you're dealing with. And man, within 30 seconds, I'm like, this is going to be a good day. I mean, they were all in, they were having a great time. It was fantastic. And I the thing that I've been most impressed with, and this is just released, but I had no idea the brand ambassadors were going to be the guys in some of our videos about our core, missions and values and those sorts of things. That was really amazing to see those folks. And they're the ones that need to be in it. I mean, I loved it.
They played a big role in that process. So you bring up the values, which we just recently rolled out, and I'm excited about those. But the values came from kind of a collective effort of, again, employees at all levels who were talking about, this is who we are as an organization. So we didn't come up with what are the words that we want to be, like, what are the things that we wish we were. It was, what is our culture at United Regional, and what are the things that are most important to us? And yes, the brand ambassadors, among a lot of other people, helped us kind of define those, put some definitions around them. And I'm excited. I feel like it's one of those things that, again, really kind of defines who we are. It's what we want to be known for. And I think it helps us, kind of guides us in our decision making as well. So
I was proud watching it. I was getting, hopefully in a healthy way, pride. I was going like, this is really cool. This is, this is what I want to be. It was very motivating. You talked about kind of getting that feedback. I know for me, I'm the director of patient experience, and so a huge part of my job at United Regional is feedback. But I focus very much on what the patients have. I kind of live and die by what the patients say.
Right.
Whatever the patients say, I get
Good
that
or
back.
bad, yeah.
Good or bad,
Right.
like I take it, and then I want to make it better. Right? I want to fix it as much as possible, make it better, learn, grow, etc. You're wired a little different in that I kind of live and die by what the patients say. I've watched you over the years. I mean, you are focused on what our teams have to say. You already mentioned culture and values, but we get feedback from the teams, and then I've watched you just really work on what do we need to do to fix it. So let me before we talk about that, I'm just interested in Kristi right now. When you were a little girl,
Oh gosh.
I have trouble imagining that in school when you wrote in your journal, what do I want to be when I grow up? That you wrote, I want to be the vice president of organizational growth and
What
development
is that? Yeah.
at United Regional.
Right.
So I'd like to know a little bit about, okay, how did you end up in that role? And then, what drives you to be so passionate about then that feedback that we get from our teams? Because it drives you. I can see it.
That's tough. I should have gotten these questions in advance.
It's not how podcasts work.
Yeah, I know. Okay, so first of all, growing up as a little girl, I was a terrible student. Like, I was just happy to graduate high school
Really?
and then
I would not have
eventually
guessed
college. And yeah, I was kind of living, day to day. I did not have any big dreams to be whatever. Honestly, I fell in love with human resources before I ever moved back to Wichita Falls and went to work at United Regional. Again, I love the culture aspect of it. I love creating a workplace where we all enjoy spending our time. It's like we spend more time at work than we do at home. And so I was passionate about that, and did that for the first 10, 11 years at United Regional as the director of HR. And then moved into my current role where I still have responsibility for HR, but I also have marketing and communications, patient experience, provider experience, and pastoral care. So a lot of what I focus on is it's really just trying to be very intentional about our culture. I say culture a lot, but it's kind of what I focus on, and it's just trying to make it the best place where our employees love to come to work, physicians love to practice, and patients want to come to receive their care. What I like about my role, and it's a little bit unique, is that because I have those different aspects and there's so much overlap there, it helps me kind of pull it all together. So for example, from the patient experience perspective, employees are only going to deliver excellent patient experience if they're first engaged, and feeling good about their work. So there's a lot of overlap there. If patients have a great experience, they go out and tell their friends and family, then now we're getting into the marketing and the communication side. So it all connects. But I'm also very blessed. I've got great teams, people like you that are leading these functions that are doing such an incredible job.
Our patient experience has been highlighted quite a bit in other areas of healthcare, other organizations and conferences, et cetera. And the one thing when they ask, hey, you guys have made such improvements on your scores and your data, and I always say I am a recipient of the employee engagement that happens at United Regional, because when the work that goes into engaging our teams is what then drives, how our patients
Absolutely.
get treated. And so I feel very blessed to be in that space. So what are the brand ambassadors? I think actually is at least partly came from feedback from employee engagement. What are some other? I've seen some cool things come out of those surveys, and I'm in the meetings where you're reading these comments, like, here's what we heard.
Right.
Here's how we're gonna fix this. We're gonna make it right, et cetera. So what are some of the things you're proud of that have come out of that?
Oh, there's so much. So the first thing I would say about that is, I've worked for other organizations who they'll do an employee survey and then they get the results and they glance at it and they stick it in a drawer and never look at it again. That is not what happens at United Regional. It's like we do an employee survey, the results come back, and it is a whole process that goes on for months about identifying what are our priorities as an organization, where do we have opportunities that we can improve, and what are we going to do about it, but also kind of digging into the individual departments. Where do we have departmental concerns that need to be addressed? And so the last survey that we did, I believe it was in December, and some of the things that we heard from that survey, and you're right, the brand ambassadors came out of that because we were hearing employees tell us we need to do a better job of telling our story. You know, we want our friends and family to know about the things that are going on at United Regional. So that definitely came out of it. Pay and benefits will almost always come up. We just did a market adjustment. Actually, just this week we're rolling it out, and I think a little over half of our workforce is getting a market adjustment. And so we actually review every single individual's pay every single year. So we, not to get into all the details, but we get market studies. We look at, you know, how much we pay compared to the Texas market. And so where we have a little bit of slippage, we'll do an adjustment each year. For the folks that don't get an adjustment, it's because you're already paid at market. But we look at that every single year. We made a couple of changes to our benefits in terms of changing the tier 1 to a copay structure, trying to make it a little easier to navigate and understand, revamping our wellness incentive. So there's a long list of things like that. We stood up an innovation team that directly came from the survey because people were saying, I don't really feel like I have a voice. I don't really feel like I'm encouraged to share new ideas. So we've got this incredible innovation team that has just launched. Nomi Ariel.
Yeah, we'll have, if we continue this, we'll have to have Nomi on.
Yes, she would be excellent for this podcast.
She loves innovation.
I love to just hear her talk, but she's leading that. A little plug for some of the HR folks. They've been very focused on training and growth and development, because that was something we heard from the survey. People say, I want more opportunities to learn.
And I've attended some of those, and they're really great.
They've been doing a lot of them. They implemented LinkedIn Learning, which is a great tool, but really exciting. What they're going to roll out by the end of the year is an Aspiring Leaders program. So people who are not in leadership roles but want to be in a leadership role at some point can start getting that training and preparation.
Fantastic.
So, some cool stuff going on, so many things going on, and a lot of that comes back from that survey.
That's all very interesting, but what I really want to know is high school Kristi that wasn't, I'm going to do another podcast where we're going to get Kristi's stories from school when she wasn't doing right.
Yeah, I would have to have really big hair.
Yeah. That's awesome. Well, one thing I do want to ask you, and I mentioned this early on, and that was just my favorite thing about United Regional is all the people I get to work with and meet and find out about them. And then if you're not working closely with them, you don't get to know all this stuff.
Right.
What is something that nobody, or maybe very few people at United Regional know about you that we need to share? The more embarrassing, the better.
Oh man, I've got a decision to make here. Do I? Honestly, I'm pretty much an open book. I don't really have any big secrets. I do love to travel. We were kind of talking about that earlier. I love to go places kind of off the beaten path a little bit, not so much the touristy destinations, but I like to travel.
So you are fixing to go to China, is that right?
Yeah, Asia next week.
Okay.
We leave for Asia. We're actually going to spend some time in China, South Korea, and Japan is the plan. But I like to go see other countries, like learn about other cultures. It reminds me like how big the world really is and how small I am in it. And I think sometimes that's easy to forget. So
no doubt.
So yeah, that's coming up. We're excited about that.
So everybody that works for Kristi, she's fixing to be out of town. So guys, give me a shout. We'll maybe knock off a little. I'm kidding. Awesome. Well, is there anything that's burning in your heart that I should have asked you about today that we haven't talked about that you want to share?
Well, let's talk about this podcast a little bit.
Okay. Let's do it.
So we've been talking about this for a while. Like, we should have a podcast, and it's one of those things that it seems like a good idea, but you don't really know until you try it if it's going to work. And you were saying earlier, we're going to have, tens of viewers. At least five of those are probably sitting in the room right now.
My mom will watch it. I can promise you that.
Yeah. Your mom. my kids will at least start to watch it, but they won't make it all the way through. Yeah, they'll have to turn it off.
I tried to tell my kids this morning, they're 8 and 9, and that I'm a big deal because I'm going on a podcast today,
Yeah.
and they didn't care at all.
They weren't buying it.
They didn't care at all.
Yeah. Okay. So speaking of kids, this is what I want to talk to you about. One of the reasons we want to do this podcast is we've got all these different generations in the workforce. We got like 5 different generations. I think there's traditionals, baby boomers, Gen X, which is what I am, millennials, and Gen Z. So what are you? Are you a millennial?
Yes, I think technically they call me like a zillennial because I'm right on the verge.
You're right on the verge of
yes,
the Gen Z and millennials.
Yeah, but
okay.
yeah, millennial.
So, 5 different generations in the workforce, and everybody communicates differently. I mean, they use different words, they get their communications from different places. And so we just felt like we're kind of past the point of just sending out an email and expecting everybody to read it. And so maybe a podcast is, way to go, something to try. So anyway, actually, I bought you something for your podcast. Because I want you to be successful,
okay.
Right? I want you to do a really good job with this. And because I'm sort of a sucker for Instagram ads.
Yeah, all right.
Okay, I saw this online. This is a slang-o-matic.
A generational translator.
It is a generational translator. And it, see, I have to put on my glasses to read. This is a very
we
Gen
won't
X.
ask you what generation you are.
Yes, It says, do you worry that your kids are throwing shade? Are you not really sure what throwing shade means?
I'm not 100%. I got a general gist of it, I think, but I don't know.
So this is going to help you on your podcast.
I'm excited.
Because I know you're going to have a lot of different people on here. But for example, I would say if something's really cool, I would probably say that's awesome. I use the word awesome a lot. Okay, that's a Gen X word.
Okay.
Okay, what is the millennial version of awesome?
See, I say awesome too. Yeah, maybe sweet might work. Yeah.
Lit.
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 See, that's why I think I'm more of a zillennial. The words lit have never come out of my mouth.
It's never come out of your mouth.
Other than we lit a fire the other day in the backyard.
Well, here's where it's going to get real hard.
Okay.
What's the Gen Z version of awesome?
Oh. I don't know. I don't know what skibbity means, but my kids say it a lot.
Skippity?
Skibbity.
Skibbity.
Yeah. Is that on there?
Well, I haven't seen that on here, but it says fire.
Okay.
That's fire.
So I can at least see the logic. Lit, fire.
Yeah.
I can see that.
True.
I can see the logic there.
All right. So one more example, because this is my word to you about this podcast. Okay. A Gen X would say that you crushed it. You crushed it. What would a millennial say?
Gosh, I have no idea.
See, this is why you need this.
I clearly need this in my life.
Killed it. A millennial killed it.
That one tracks. I say that. I
Yeah.
say you killed it.
A Gen Z would say ate, like ATE.
Oh, okay,
You
yeah.
ate that podcast.
Yeah. Yep. I've heard my kids say that
You have.
when they were playing a video game.
Okay.
Like-
Well, there you go.
Cooking. Oh, you're cooking. It wasn't 8. He said you're cooking. That's what my kid said the other day. I heard it in the background.
So this is where, if my kids are watching, they've probably crawled under the
Oh,
table
yeah.
by now. I'm so embarrassed, but that is for you to
Feel
help you
so
be
old.
successful.
But this is very exciting. I'm going to use this. Actually, I'm going to use this in my own home
Yes.
as well.
Well, and if the podcast fails, then that may be the only place you can use it.
Well, speaking of, guys, Kristi has promised me that if this goes well, we could build our own or get our own podcast studio. And this is a dream of mine to have a podcast studio. So please follow along. Let us know, what would you like to see from the podcast? Let us know what episodes you'd like to see. Who should we interview? What should we do with it? I'm excited. So Kristi, you got anything else?
No, that's all I got.
Thank you. This has been really cool to get to talk to you. I get to talk to you often, but not in this scenario. So
Yeah.
it's been
fun.
awesome. Yeah, it's been a good time. So
All right.
with
Thanks,
that,
Ryan.